Welcome everyone to CryptoFrog's Gems AMA. Today's a beautiful day, November the 15th, and today we're here with the Build a Block. We're gonna basically talk about a lot of the projects that they've been building out for many other different projects, I guess, in a sense. And we have a lot of great questions to ask from us as well as the community. And we have an in-depth review that will be published right after this AMA. We're super excited about that. We spent a lot of work working on this, me and my friend. So we're really excited, and let's get started. So Fanta, tell me a little bit about yourself. How did you get into crypto before we get into Build a Block?
Hey man, absolutely. Well, listen, first of all, thank you so much for having us on here, and big thank you as well to anyone taking the time out of their day to join and to listen to us speak. I got into crypto about 3 years ago. As for the obviously, first of all, I was an investor into things such as Bitcoin and Ethereum. Eventually moved over to the token market about maybe I would say about a year and a half ago, and met Rico through the first project which he helped on, which was called Buyback Token, which he can tell you all about. And have been working with him ever since then. We've been doing quite a bit of, before we made Build a Block, we did quite a bit of freelance work for other projects before, really deciding to turn this into a business. I'll let Rico present himself and tell you a bit about what his story is, and how we've been working together, and how Build a Block came to be. But yeah, Rico, if you want to go ahead.
Yeah. Hi. I hope everyone can hear me okay.
Yeah, you're good, man.
Awesome. Well, firstly, thank you, Frog, for having us on. It's very much appreciated. I'm looking forward to talking to you guys today. I guess I'll go ahead and I'll just give a quick rundown, I guess, about myself and how we both came to be working on Build a Block. So I've probably been in the space as a whole, in the cryptocurrency world for the better part of about 5 years now, and me and Fanta, as he had mentioned, met on the first project that I had developed and that I had written the smart contract code for, which was Buyback Token. This was a token that I launched back in June 1st of 2021. I wasn't really on the main team, nor was it something that, I per se would call myself the founder of, but I was the complete developer of it. I came up with the concept. Funny enough, we were actually the first token on the Binance Smart Chain to start doing buybacks, and we had Everise that came about 14 days after us. Which has been really popularized with creating that idea. But funny enough, you're talking to the guy who started that. So that goes to speak for my background in terms of Binance Smart Chain and I guess crypto tokens in general. After that we spent I met Fanta, and Fanta was an investor who said that was one of his first big win through in the crypto space. So we kind of started speaking, and we realized that we were much alike. We were both developers alike, and we had started a kind of part-time side hustle of just developing for a lot of projects, and it kind of scaled over time to the point, where we actually grew a sort of a passion at the time for kind of making the space a little bit of better space as a whole. And, we realized that there was quite a big demand for development throughout the space, and it was something that was lacking, and I guess from there, that was the initial seed of the idea of Build a Block to come together, and create an all-in-one platform and kind of service hub / agency where we could provide services to people throughout the Binance Smart Chain, throughout the Ethereum network, throughout really all EVM blockchains. And, we've currently been scaling to the point where we're kind of on this mission of really facilitating everyone's transition, whether they're retail companies and such, not to the crypto space. So yeah, I think that goes to speak toward our background and, how Build a Block came to light. And obviously I'll speak to more about where we're at now. But yeah.
Okay, thank you for the great introduction, guys. Definitely, sorry, Alan keeps texting me on iMessage. I'm sorry about that. But So you guys were basically the first, you guys built out the first token that introduced buyback. I remember Everrise was super popular with that as well. They did the huge buybacks that, because I had a person from my university, and she was talking about Everrise, and I was like, hold up, I didn't want to sound sexist or anything, but like first time, a girl telling me about crypto, especially, some sort of shit coin with like a super, super low market cap. And she was telling me about Everrise and how like, her dad put in like 5-10 grand into Everrise and how it was worth over 100,000 now. And she knew I was in crypto and stuff like that. And that was super, super cool. So to see something, the first buyback token in a sense, to have that sort of thing is pretty cool. Because if you really think about it, SafeMoon was kind of the first token that popularized, holding, and you get part of the transactions get sent to you guys. Sorry, to get sent to the holders, right? But I'm sure SafeMoon wasn't the first token to do that. I'm sure there was a token before that. I think it was like some B token, but SafeMoon was the one that that made it super, super popular. So that's really cool to hear, man. That's really cool to hear, Rico. So could you tell me a little bit about, Build a Block? Where did you guys start? How did you guys have the idea to, to build out this, I guess, service platform where projects come to you and be like, hey, we want this and this done. How did you guys, start that up in a sense?
For sure. Yeah. This is kind of the best part about, DMAs. I love talking about this. So as I was mentioning, right, so we started really just kind of freelance work, and we were helping people out. And, we eventually kind of got to the point where we felt that, we could really make a difference, and we had built up a kind of extensive network of connections in the space throughout the years that we've been doing this. And, we said we really have the opportunity right now to make a difference, and we could really put something together that would, for one, help a lot of people. For two, would be a great opportunity to create something of substance on the Binance Smart Chain and just as a token, and to kind of, start this new concept and idea, which Build a Block is. So, we sat there and we pondered and we said, okay, we have this mission of creating an all-in-one development company for Web3, since it's one of the most in demand and will become even more in demand as we, progress through time. Fields of really work in general, right? So we said, we have the connections, we want to make a company, but we can really make a difference in both, the actual Web3 development side of things, but also in the token space and in the investment space, right? So that's, where the concept of Build a Block's token, build token, kind of came to light as well. And, that's when we started, and we really rough drafted the thoughts of integrating this token to go along with our project, right? So when you create a project, right, there's really two things that are always lacking in most projects, right? And the first one being that there's no real generation of income for that project. A lot of projects are hyper dependent on the fact that people need to come and buy after them. So there's a lot of talk about utility and talk about passive revenue generation, but it's really not found on a lot of projects. And for two, a lot of projects are not trying to accomplish anything, and that their scalability is limited, right? And the opportunity for growth is not there. And we had to make sure that when we were going to start this company and when we were going to start this project, that for one, our investors would be investing in something that would have an inherent value through the actual company, and for two, would be scalable to the point where it's going to be able to be taken to levels that exceed the Binance Smart Chain in its entirety. We never destined to stop at $1 million or 10 million or even $100 million market cap. We really wanted to structure ourselves in a way that we would be able to be, seated at these bigger tables and, be put in front of these bigger audience and bigger investors and more traditional investors per se. So we kind of sat there and said, what we can really do to kind of step away from this kind of Ponzi creating that, most people are doing, because in a sense, right, when your project has no real way of generating income for its holders and has no real way of generating income for the actual project or the company, then you just find yourself into a big crowdfunding project, right? It's buy and hope someone's going to buy after you, right? So we said, hey, what we're going to do is we're going to create the first token that offers tokenized shares and will act as a company. Build a Block is the company. Build a Block will make revenue. And then with this revenue, we will take a portion of our revenue, we will buy back into the chart, and we will then subsequently burn that supply forever, creating both a deflationary asset that will never, ever create more supply. And, in reality, the supply is decreasing every day. And for two, offer an investment to our community and the community that decides to join us, where they could be buying a portion of the company, right? Because at Build a Block, really the core concept is that we sell services, we make revenue, we take thus revenue, and we buy back and we burn. A rather simple idea, but in a sense, it really offers a true value for our investors. And I will go into the fact of how just the company itself is such a scalable thing, right? To the point where we can really achieve, and it's not even a can, we will achieve some really astronomical both numbers and in terms of our position in the space as a whole. We made sure that it would be scalable and that we could really make a difference. Because I always say, when you're going to make a company and you want a successful company and a successful project, you have to offer something to people and you have to change the space as a whole. So that's been our plan at Build a Block, to really offer an investment to our users, that they don't need to just solely depend on someone buying after them. They know that their investment over time will gain in value solely off the fact that we are a company. We do generate revenue. And in fact, we are a company in what is going to probably be the biggest and most in-demand kind of niche there will be, in the future. I'm pretty sure everyone in this AMA, if you're into crypto, you'll agree with me when I say that Web3 as a whole and decentralized finance is really on the up and up. And, the demand for development is only going to get bigger. And, that's the part of the scalability about Build a Block, which you won't find at a lot of projects. And yeah, that's where we are today, I believe. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and talk more about it, but I wanted to give a pause if you wanted to maybe comment something or ask any more immediate questions. But yeah, that's the gist of us. And obviously there's a lot more to talk about, but yeah.
Hey, great explanation. You mentioned a lot about because basically here I have on my write up, it says Build a Block aims to solve problems of not being able to quote unquote sleep on your tokens. So by selling services, as I mentioned here, passive revenue through income generations through income generation, yes, through generation through services. So basically you own part of, I guess, the quote unquote company, I guess, and like it's kind of like a stock thing, if that kind of makes sense, basically.
Definitely,
so,
yeah.
As you guys, build out projects and stuff like that, Build a Block aims to solve the problem of, quote unquote, sleeping on your tokens by selling services and using products to both buy back and burn build tokens, which I mentioned here is deflationary, which, increases the floor price because it, tokens
exactly
as they go down. Okay, perfect. So that's really cool. So you guys started this about 6 months ago. I remember you guys had Build a Block, and then Cronus was also on the team. He did Poo Chain as well. I'm sure a lot of people here, they know what Poo Chain is. Definitely a great play of ours. But Cronus was on the Build a Block team, which is really sick.
Oh, well, he wasn't exactly on the initial team, but he was a initial mod.
I remember he was like an admin or a mod, something like that.
Yeah, he was a mod. Yeah, that's actually funny. We thought about. I remember that this morning, actually. Yeah, he was an initial mod in our chat, and yeah, we had done some development work for him, of course.
Yeah, that's really sick. So could you explain a little bit about the features? I know you guys have like some sort of yield farm. There's swaps, RTCs, of course. So go through a little bit about that.
Yeah. So why invest in Build a Block? Really big question. And what do we really offer you? And how can you earn with us? And why are we better than most projects, or to all projects in actually our opinion out there? I'd love to get into this. So obviously the core fundamental that you should remember and keep in your head when you're investing in Build a Block is that you're really buying a piece of a company. And before I even dabble into all of the passive income and generation of money you can make through our farm and through staking and whatnot, I'm just going to talk about really the core principle to keep to heart, right, is that you're buying a real thing. You're buying into a real company. You're buying into something that is generating revenue. I'm going to speak to you guys a bit about just what that revenue is, how much in buybacks we've already done, how many services we've sold, how much money we've brought into the company. But you're really buying into a company that is performing, right? So you're buying a piece of a company, and that's something that you won't find normally, right? Because your only chance of buying a company public is when they go public, right? This is after tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars have already been invested in a company. And in other words, you would have never had a chance of investing in said company at any reasonable price that you can afford to substantially hold a certain percentage of that company, right? So Build a Block offers that chance to our investors to really get a piece of the pie early on, right, and benefit off the growth of the business. right? So I talked about, earlier about the sheer scalability of the fact that, crypto is going to be huge. We're living in a time where decentralized finance is at an all-time high in terms of need. You have people that can't access their money all over the world, and you already have, some of these billion-dollar industries and companies that are making the merge onto blockchain. And, Build a Block is really positioning itself in a place where we can kind of grab a sizable portion of that market and start, benefiting, right? If there's a bunch of cars on the road, you're always going to need a mechanic. If there's a bunch of people using crypto, you're going to need a development company, and that is at an all-time shortage. So we said, hey, the first thing that users are going to be able to profit off when you're buying into Build a Block is, well, you're buying a company at a value that is completely undervalued, and you're really getting a chance to buy into something that will change the damn world, for lack of a better word. And I mean, if that's not enough, I'll tell you guys about really our ecosystem and kind of what we have going. We have multiple products. Actually, before I go into that, if you don't mind, if I could just run through maybe kind of a couple of our revenue numbers just to give people an example of kind of what we're working with here.
Sure, yeah. Love to hear.
Yeah, for sure. So this is going to be an interesting point because you guys will see, funny enough, if we just go off our revenue and you would value our company in real life, you would quickly understand and realize that we should be valued at millions of dollars. And it's, that's a burden that we took on, right? To say that, hey, we're going to launch a token to act as our tradable shares, which could be undervalued at the time. But if you guys are about to hear these numbers and you're just going to realize that when you buy Build a Block at this market cap range, you are quite literally getting a on paper 10-figure discount, 10 times discount. So I'm going to run through a document for you guys here. If you want to view this document in our chat, you would just do /quarterly, and you're going to find both of our Q1 and Q1.5 sales quarter mid-quarter report that I'm about to read to you guys. We're going to have another one coming out really shortly because we're kind of getting there. Let me just download this really quickly so I could open it up, guys. Stay with me here 2 seconds. I should invest in some better Wi-Fi. 1 second. Okay, here we go. So yeah, like I said, company guys, we sell services. Just exactly what are we doing right now? So I'm reading you guys numbers from our last quarterly report that was released on the 23rd of October. So obviously a bit of time has went by now. So these numbers are a bit larger, but for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to read you guys these numbers. So at the time, on the 23rd of October, we had sold 152 service sales from launch, right? We launched back May 26th of 2022 of this year. And, since that launch date, we've sold 152 unique sales. That's from October 23rd. Currently, we're about 166. Those 166 sales, at the time, 152 sales, were delivered to over 101 different clients. So we've had 101 different people, different projects, different teams that have contacted us, and we've went through and we've helped them. So it's definitely a feat to have helped over 100 individual people / teams. Of those 152 sales that I'm mentioning right now, we had 41 unique sales that made up of those 152 sales. So those are not just copy paste lottery DApps back to back. They definitely differ. And in total, we've made a grand total right now of $31,555 in buybacks. And we've burned about, I would say right now, if I check like the actual numbers, we're probably close to about 7% of the total supply that was completely burned just via service sales. And in revenues, we've generated a grand total of a bit over 150 grand. Well, on the paper it says 148. Obviously, right now we're definitely over 150. So that brings us to about an average, number of, we're taking about 21% of the revenues we're making and we're putting them right back into the chart and we're buying and burning, and those numbers, right, they really speak to, for one, the fact that we have been not here for long, right? We have been here for 6 months, and that might be long for the average token, but it's not long for a company, and it's not long for a business to be up and running, for people to trust said business and to really want to work with us, right? So, just let that act as, for one, a tell to the quality of services and I guess the competitive price we're offering. But for two, to just how big this market is and just how untouched it is, guys. There is such a demand for services. People are going on Fiverr, they're going on Upwork, they're getting ripped off, they're waiting 3-4 weeks a month for some, under average developments. And then, Build-A-Block came through, and you can get it something made in a few days or in a few weeks, and it's damn good, and it has a damn good price point with it, and we've only been here 5 months, generating 150 grand in revenue over now. And you'll quickly understand that number is just going to be, it's like a snowball effect. It's going to be getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And we are the only project in this space which you can invest and know that there's real money coming in, and it's not coming from the thin air, and it's not coming from your guys' pocket. It's coming from the pocket of people that are doing business with us, and that's subsequently going into your pocket. Only project on this space offering you an investment into a company that will be, really in the essence, huge, right? You guys can see 150 grand in revenue in 5 months. You guys can imagine what that's going to look another 5 months down the line and another year down the line. And we talk about this all the time is that, you look at projects in the millions of dollars of market cap, they simply have 80, 100, $150,000 in liquidity. Within the next, year, 2 years, even 5 months, couple months, guys, that, number is very small compared to the money that Build-A-Block is going to be bringing in, putting back into the chart, So let that speak for one, to just, how powerful of a project we will be and we are at this moment. And for two, just how scalable we are in the sense that those numbers are going to get bigger. Companies are starting to merge into crypto. We are going to get those jobs, So we're definitely scalable, and it's really interesting. And that will definitely speak toward the quality of investment we're offering to you. And I would confidently say that we're really the only project in the space right now, or I'd say one of the top 1% of projects that are actually offering you an investment that, for one, like Frog was mentioning, you can sleep on. Your investment will not disappear. Your investment is backed by real money. Amidst all this craziness in the crypto space, you have centralized exchanges crashing. You can come to Build-A-Block and really understand that we're doing things right here, and we're really building up an investment, and we're building up a project that is 100% backed by real dollars, that is backed by real sales, and that is backed by real stuff going on. This is not just a Ponzi. This is not just a artificial inflated market cap, and you do not need someone else to come by after you to end up making extraordinary amounts of gains on our project. And that's the real beauty of it. I always give this parallel. Apple is not worth $3 trillion solely because they sell iPhones and computers. Of course, that part of that is, given and accredited to their stock price. But, Apple is not just one huge stock that offers nothing. And that's what a bunch of these tokens are. They could be at 10, 20, 30, $100 million market cap, but if they have no way of bringing in real money, and they have no future where they can start bringing in even more money, then those projects are not real, and those will never stay here for a long time. And you guys can see as it is, it doesn't matter if you're even in the hundreds of millions of dollars of market cap. If it's not real, it will crumble. And, Build-A-Block in this crazy space is providing you something real. And on that note, we have a lot of passive earning things that are going on with Build-A-Block. We do have a whole ecosystem of things. What we do have is we have a yield farm, right? We have a staking platform. We have a native yield farm and native yield farm token. So basically, our farm token is BlockFi. It acts as a reward token, and it has some really crazy tech as well that I can touch on just a little bit. But basically, what having our own farm token allows us to do is, for one, offer and have Build-A-Block have more liquidity pairs, but at the same time, the technology of this farm token itself is just absolutely revolutionary. It offers kind of this double entendre of investment to you guys. For one, you can grab some Build-A-Block, and not anymore. Those pools aren't open right now. But for a while, people were grabbing some Build-A-Block. They were staking it. They were earning a bunch of our farm token. They were compounding that farm token, and they were making astronomical amounts of passive income. I had people make back their entire investment off solely our farm token. Our farm token and our ecosystem as a whole has delivered north of $65,000 in rewards that have been actually sold from the token. We're on the note of real dollars being here, and even our passive income and the opportunities in farming and staking that we offer you, there's 70 grand of dollars that came out. We're not just reflecting our token back to our investors. We're offering something that was able to self-sustain itself after having $70,000 sold off from it. And the beauty about that is, for one, is that we have our native farm token that is rewarding holders while staying inside of our ecosystem. And for two, BlockFi and our farm token actually does make some buys and burns off Build-A-Block as a redirection of the fees. So not only is it a completely self-sustaining asset that, is rewarding you guys, and that, for one, can offer various ways to compound, to farm, to stake with it, that is, bringing people almost 9 to 5 type money when we were a bit, higher in value in terms of our farm token, but always going to go back there, as I've mentioned, because we're doing real things, and real things, they equate to real increase in dollars. But that's the beauty about our ecosystem. We have we're gonna put up some new staking pools shortly, and we're gonna have more ways for you guys to farm, to stake. If you guys don't know about farming, we have a really awesome kind of curated list of Medium articles that you guys can consult so that you guys can get familiar with our farming platform, which is Block Farms Finance. And you guys can go have a look over there after you've had a look at Build a Block, and you guys can see that for one, you're buying into a company, and for two, you're going to have this whole ecosystem attached to that company, which is bringing us a passive generation of volume, which is bringing itself a passive generation of volume, which is bringing more liquidity, more LP routing, and as a whole, it kind of works in this kind of big circle of money that is constantly feeding back into itself. And no other project is really doing that. You have projects that have yield farms, but they're simply forks of maybe PancakeSwap's yield farm, where you can go and you can buy 2 tokens and you can put them in and you can start farming. But all it is a UI on top of code that already exists somewhere else. This is our own thing, So as we grow, as our farm token grows, as our ecosystem grows, and our total value lock grows, we become stronger in terms of liquidity. I'm very avid about the fact that, one thing that is to be appreciated about Build and BlockFi and our ecosystem as a whole is that we have strong liquidity backing, right? We talk about being a company. We talk about real dollars being attached to our projects. Well, we have real money there, and projects don't, right? So like I said, 70 grand in rewards just off our ecosystem alone. So when you come into Build a Block, you're not only getting the opportunity of a lifetime, and I do not say that lightly, you are also, getting and putting yourself in a position and entering an ecosystem, which you have a ton of ways of growing your assets right there and then. So definitely something of substance we have going in terms of our ecosystem, in terms of the things we're offering you guys. I will, go on to talk a bit more about a few of the products that Build a Block has recently been coming up with and that is offering now to the world, that is going to feed back into this realm of passive growth and passive volume for the project. But yeah, that's really the beauty from Build a Block. And when you think about us, you think about, I'm buying a piece of a company, and at the same time, not only do we make revenue from service sales, right? We have passive generation of income from our yield farm. We charge a deposit fee, which we reinvest inside the token, a very small one. If we're taking a deposit fee in tokens, we're burning them, we're decreasing the supply again. Through the actual pairs, right, that we have on the farms, and through our farm token itself, we've managed to grow, for one, Build a Block's liquidity to market cap ratio, as well as our farm token BlockFi's. So we're really a powerhouse in terms of having substantial liquidity there. So when we're at $10 million market cap, $15 million market cap, $100 million market cap, and year 1% of our project is now worth $10,000, $100,000, $1 million. Well, if you ever wanted to liquidate that asset, you could. But that's the beauty thing about our farm and our ecosystems, that you don't need to liquidate your assets. You compound, you stake, and guess what? You're holding a gem of an asset, and you're able to earn at the same time. And that's the beauty. And while you're earning passively without liquidating something that you should be keeping, given the fact that we're at the absolute kind of I'm just getting some messages. I don't know if people don't hear me very well. Could maybe Fanta, does everyone hear me good?
I can hear you perfectly fine. Just to
Awesome.
touch up a little bit about
go ahead.
Because you talked about the farms and such like that.
Mhm.
So you guys already have around, as I said here, around $1,000 in rewards that were being paid out, right? So obviously there's PancakeSwap, there's other platforms like OKX, just so many different other platforms. So you mentioned prior that that the advantage of using your farm is that you guys have this token that's attached to the Build a Block token that you guys could use, and it's the APY is it's a little bit higher than your average 10% APY token if you were to stake US dollars. So could we know a little bit about the APY right now, about your different pools? Which staking pool is the most popular, and then right now which staking pool has the most, like, what is the TVL of your most popular staking pool?
Yeah, so I'll talk about that right now. In terms of staking pools right now, we are just in the process of re-putting those up, because those close every 30 to 60 days, because we do like to offer a variety of of rewards and a variety of passive ways to earn. So I will go on to the block farm site really quickly right now, and I'll just talk to you maybe a bit about the APRs on the farm pairs, because I can't give you APRs on our staking pools right now just because we're in the process of putting new ones up. Usually those are around anywhere from on the lowest end, if it'll be a small pool with a lot of people staking in it, maybe 15-20%. Sometimes maybe a bit lower in terms of the 10-15% range. Sometimes as high as a constant staking pool that will be 60, 70, 80% in terms of APR. Where it really gets interesting, right, is the core pool on our farm, which never closes, which has a high multiplier in terms of how much of our farm token you're earning, and has a 200x multiplier, and the APR over there at 60%. And then when you get into our farm pairs, which is also a different kind of game in itself, you have two farm pairs right now, one trading at 83% and the other one trading at 167% APR. So you definitely have ways to earn, and really the beauty about that is that you're already throwing yourself in the ecosystem. Of course, by far are we the first place that you should come if you want to passively earn in crypto. There's a million places that you can go, but the really idea behind that is that there's not a million places for you to go to invest in a company and then earn on your assets at the same time, and then throw yourself in an ecosystem, and in a really revolutionary ecosystem in terms of actual code, and in terms of actual product, in terms of BlockFi and our farm token. And you're already in our realm. And while you're earning in our realm, you're not only helping yourself by earning, but you're also helping our ecosystem as a whole, right? Because the more people that are using our ecosystem, right, the stronger we're getting that influx of volume from external pairs, from deposit fees, from the kind of balance in market as a whole, right? So you're supporting us, you're supporting your investment indirectly by earning passively. As funny as that sounds, is that by earning passively with us, you're also supporting your investment into the Build-A-Block, right? So it's really something cool, and it's something unique. And yeah, I mean, I'll update you guys as it comes in terms of the new APRs and the new pools. It's a great time to come grab some Build-A-Block, not only because, like I mentioned, if you look at our numbers, we are quite literally 10 times less than we should be valued in terms of how you value companies. But also for the simple fact that we're going to be opening up some very interesting pools. We're into a new quarter now, so we're going to have these new kind of ways of distributing the revenues we're making to our holders. Some new interesting BUSD and BNB rewards for you guys. So I will make sure to keep everyone updated on those APRs and those APYs when they come out within the next kind of 48 hours or so, or 72 hours. We're going to be doing that this week at some point. So but if you want to learn more, and if you want to go check out more, you just do /farm in our chat, and you go check out some Medium articles. And it's something that I could talk about for a long time. But for one to take out of it is that everything helps itself in terms of our ecosystem, and not only are we earning for the company and for the token through the revenues, but also through a whole native yield farm and a whole native passive earning ecosystem with a really, really strong farm token. I hope that sufficed for kind of the question concerning APR.
So just on the last part as well. So currently, as always, because you guys are making the new staking farms, so obviously every 30-60 days or so, sometimes you have to make new staking pools. So what are the some exclusive tokens that, I don't know if you're allowed to share, maybe you can, some exclusive tokens that you could stake on the Build-A-Block farm that can't be staked elsewhere?
Well, in terms of, I wouldn't maybe so much go for exclusivity, but we have an interesting thing where, we list projects on our farm. Some projects will pay a fee if they're adequate projects that, the requirements aren't super stringent, but they will list, and, you'll see in our chat when we make an announcement, and, we'll offer you guys, and this is another great thing about holding Build-A-Block and holding our farm token when you earn it, and to make sure to keep it and compound it, is that you get to a point where people are listing on our farm, right? And for one, we're generating money from people listing on our farm for the company and for the project as a whole. Another thing that I had left out about how we generate income. But, what's great about that is that these developers of these projects, in return for opening them up a farm pair where their community can come into our farm and start earning, we also get tokens and supply of their project that we offer to Build-A-Block holders. And that's the beauty of it, is that when you're holding Build-A-Block, yes, you're going to earn natively within our ecosystem and the pools that we put up for you guys. But, at least a couple times a month, you're going to have the opportunity of earning other projects' tokens, which is really cool. And, that acts as something, you can choose to sell. You can choose to keep if you want. But, all of that equals volume for Blockify and equals volume for our ecosystem as a whole. So that's also the beauty about like really how we passively earn, right? Is that all of these projects coming on and first of all, it's free exposure, right? People can't afford to, or they don't want to spend $10,000, $8,000 developing a yield farm. You come get a farm pair for a few $100. You come list and you come give that advantage to your community members. And when people are farming on our farm, they obviously have to use our farm token, which creates an inherent value for our farm token. Something that boosts its price, strengthens its liquidity, and obviously subsequently build has all of those same benefits, right? It grows, builds volume, it grows, builds liquidity pair as a whole. And we get to the point where you're in a farm and you're in an ecosystem that has other people's projects as well. So at those times, those become exclusive. I can't share to you exactly what will be happening tomorrow or next week or what we've already had. If you go in our chat, you'll see some of the previous projects that we've had pools open for. But it's been a lot of them, and we consistently offer that for sure. So that's what's really cool, is that for one, you won't just earn what we offer you, you'll earn what other project developers are offering you as well. And at the same time, like I mentioned, it all comes back full circle, and it always helps the ecosystem, always helps BlockFi, always helps build a block. And that's in the essence is what makes them both self-sustaining and passively growing assets. And then on top of that, you have a whole freaking company bringing you in volume or revenue, for lack of a better word. But yeah, you have that sheer scalability of build a block, and you have that sheer kind of really scalability and safety, knowing that you're holding a true asset. And at the same time, everything comes around full scale, and you keep earning. You don't just earn with us, you earn with others as well. So yeah, that's what's interesting, definitely.
Amazing, Nico. Thank you for the great explanation. So you guys have a lot of. So could you explain a little bit about the service that you guys do? So obviously you said before there was farms, you guys did lotteries. What some unique things that let's say like some project wanted something very very specific. What was the coolest project, coolest service I guess you had to do for a project?
We've done some really cool stuff. Okay, so for one, we offer about like 30 base services that are immediately available for kind of buy, which we've had the code for, which we've already developed. You guys can go on our channel and do /services, and you'll find a kind of list and some rough prices, which need some updates, but we'll get to that. And you'll find, some maybe quick utility you can grab for your project immediately. We also are fully into custom development. So we've done a bunch of custom work. We do all sorts of custom work. We've worked for a bunch of people. We unfortunately don't disclose the actual, and not really unfortunately for very good reasons, we don't disclose the projects we work for. I will talk to you about some examples of some really cool stuff we did. And I can disclose one because we have an active partnership with them. But in terms of custom development, we do all sorts of stuff. We've built, cross-chain bridges for people. We've done the groundwork on blockchain work for people. We have done extensive amount of work in terms of just, building complex DApps. We've done betting DApps. We've done really unique staking stuff. One really cool development we just did for, someone that we're actually partnered with right now, Grimace, is we built them a full-scale liquidity locker that allows them to then take the LP tokens that are being locked inside of their liquidity locker and offer them as rewards to their NFT holders. So this kind of 2-in-1 liquidity locker and NFT staking or NFT reward DApp at the same time. And also actually that development we made it compatible on the Kronos network, on the Ethereum network, and the BSC. So that those are just some recent stuff that we build. I have tons of invoices that I should, go over and tell you guys. Right now, I just don't have them on the computer that I have next to me. But we've done some really full-scale stuff. We've built yield farms for people, custom yield farms. We're in the process of building some launch pads for people as well. Some full-scale, type pink sale launch pads with some custom requirements. Really, anything you dream of, if it's feasible to a certain level, Build a Block will get it done. And that's been a really pleasure in serving people, and I think it's really refreshing to find a company and a place you can come to with what is a rough idea, speak to one of our developers, speak to one of our associates, and really make your dream come true. And that's not a comfort or a leisure you're really offered going on Fiverr or going on Upwork or any of these sites, because in reality, right, you're speaking to oftentimes unexperienced people. you're oftentimes speaking to people that, have malintent and just want to take your money. And at the end of the day, you're going to be overpaying by 2, 3, 4, 5 times the price. We have curated a team of developers, which we are about 10 now. And we allow for really, really competitive prices, and we're not just some freelance platform. We have very vetted developers. We have a tradable share to go along with our company. And the 5 months of good work. I don't tell people to look at our testimonials. I tell people to look at the fact that no one's ever had a bad thing to say about the work that Build-A-Block's done for them. And at a price that is competitive would be an understatement. So that's the really awesome thing about Build-A-Block is, it's not only basic V apps that you can come buy from us. If you need those really fast, you can have that as an extra utility for your project. We have tons of price ranges, but, we actually really allow for, promises to turn reality. You have a developer that says, yeah, I want to build this and I want to build that. And he's telling his community, and, maybe his intention was to make that happen, but he wasn't able to because he wasn't able to do it for a price that sufficed, or he wasn't able to find someone or a team of people or a company that was able to do that for him. And, both of those problems are met, are kind of, both of those problems are solved at Build-A-Block. And yeah.
Okay, sick. So you guys, have a team of developers. That was actually going to be my next question, how many developers you have, but it looks like you already answered it with 10. Could we go a little bit? I know we didn't talk about tokenomics. So, I saw on the website that it says, 3% towards marketing, 3% for buyback, 2% towards liquidity, and then 2% for, future ecosystem development. Has that changed recently? Has that altered, or is that still the taxes on the project?
So 10% is still the fee both ways. That's definitely still the fee both ways, but we definitely, I guess, alter the ways in which we use that fee. So right now, I guess you can give if I were to give an accurate depiction to the best of my abilities, because it definitely fluctuates on even maybe a day-to-day basis. We're probably putting around 3% toward future development right now because we have some really cool stuff going on, which I'll touch on in just a little bit, not too long, and I won't go into greater detail, but we're putting a bit more toward development right now. A portion of our fee obviously is always used for the reaccumulation of tokens. They don't always get burned just because we want to keep some supply for centralized exchange for future endeavors. We have maybe about 2% going toward I guess marketing expenses now at this time because we want to get the name out there a bit. And then our liquidity has remained the same at 3% roughly, sometimes a bit higher. But those are rough figures. We're coming out with a new website as well, which will hopefully have those live numbers for you guys as well. But it's fair to say around right now 3% to development, 3% to liquidity, about I would say maybe 2% to marketing. That brings us around total of 8%, and then 2% to our regular reaccumulation of our supply, which is really awesome doing at this market cap range, because it offers us a chance to burn a lot more tokens and to remove a lot of tokens for supply, and to also be able to acquire that supply for centralized exchanges and future endeavors at a price that's quite affordable, to say the least. So and that's that. I mean, as going into tokenomics, that's our basic fee routing, and then obviously we have the regular buy and burns through the revenues of our service sales.
Okay, great. So you guys, I read through the white paper. I understood that block market.
Yes, I'm very happy you brought it up.
Block market will only list companies that have been registered for 1 year or more, who have demonstrated their ability to successfully run a business and provide a new interesting product or service. So do you guys have some sort of vetting process in a sense of what they have to do? Let's say I have a company and I have this exciting utility that I have launched, and I've been around for a year, maybe a little bit more, and let's say I want to come to you, Rico or Fanta. I'll be like, hey, I want to get my company listed on the block market.
So let me talk to you
about the process of that.
About block market as a whole. So this is one of the newest products that Build-A-Block, and is the biggest product that we are now integrating in our ecosystem. And sorry, a little sick under the weather, but what block market is a step that we're taking to really integrate traditional markets and traditional companies into the crypto space. So we said, hey, we're not just going to sit around and build services for people, even though that is, like I explained earlier, one of the biggest and most in demand, and will grow as an in demand, thing. But we're also going to go the extra step in being pioneers and kind of really integrating real world companies and real world businesses inside cryptocurrency. So, the idea of block market is that, we take a page out of Build a Block's book and we create tradable assets for a company that is already in existence. And we, give them the first step of, we give them the first steps in terms of integrating integrating their process into the crypto world. So we're on that same note about kind of talking about, how we're trying to change the space and create products and services for people that are really going to make an impact. And, we will be one of the first companies that are going to really offer that transition directly in a product, right? Which benefits Build a Block in, tremendous ways. To really take that step and initiative to allow companies to start having a tradable asset inside the cryptocurrency realm, and to decentralize their company in a certain sense, and to try and, facilitate their integration in Web3. And, how that helps Build a Block, obviously, is that, like I explained earlier, we're no longer just building stuff on the BSC, right? We're locking in deals with companies that offer us, exclusive development rights to build everything that they're going to need on the Binance Smart Chain. As block market gets scaled, we're going to be talking about companies worth millions and tens of millions of dollars, which Build a Block is doing all their development for, and which Build a Block's product, block market, is going to be hosting, right? So we're in our very early stages of introducing this product. We are in the early stages of completely, making sure that all of our aspects on a legal standpoint are taken care of. We've been speaking to numerous lawyers, financial, traders, and making sure that we have the proper licensing. And that's also going to be coming with the registering of Build a Block as a company. And, when that comes to light, and as that's coming to light, we are going to start getting these deals with much larger companies. Also, every company that is going to list, right, that we vet, which I'll tell you just in a second how we're planning on doing that and how we're currently doing that. Every company token that launches, because that's what we're doing, we're creating a tradable asset for that company into the crypto space, and then furthering, their mission and journey within decentralized finance and Web3 as a whole by, being the sole developer for all of these guys. What we're doing is Build a Block is going to have a small amount of each company token that launches is going to have, Build a Block as its initial liquidity, a part of it at least, right? So what that's going to do is it's going to allow for some really cool liquidity routing, and a concept that we had, started back when I was working on that project, my first project there, Buyback, where, the market cap of Buyback actually did a 3x just based on a kind of testament project that we had launched to test that theory about liquidity routing. And, just from a test project launching that used, my original project, Buyback, as or the initial project that I worked on and developed for people, they used, that project's tokens as initial liquidity, and that, Buyback's project did a 3x in market cap. So you guys can imagine, if we have 10 company tokens, 20 company tokens, this is going to be astronomical for Build a Block, right? If one project that went to about $1 million market cap 3x the entire market cap of a project that was even 2 times the value of Build a Block right now, well, then you can imagine at Build a Block's market cap range, as these companies start listing and as this routing starts happening, for one, we're going to be bringing in a crap ton of revenue from these companies, right? Where we're going to be doing business on a huge and larger scale, which I talked to you guys about the scalability of Build a Block. We're the only project on the BSC that can really start working with real big businesses and businesses worth millions of dollars, because we're doing things properly and we're doing things professionally. But, for two, we're also going to have this array of liquidity pairs that are going to allow for, let's say, X company token does 500K market cap and the other company token does 200K market cap. Then you just saw Build a Block's market cap do a 3-4x solely based on the pairs that are being created through that, block market ecosystem, which is beautiful, which is something that's crazy. And it only works in one way, in the sense that we can only benefit. We can't lose. If those tokens go back down, we still keep that volume. We still keep that liquidity, which is really awesome, So that's what we're in the process of doing. In terms of the vetting, like you had asked, how we're doing that is, we're obviously researching.
Sorry, Rico, just to jump in really quick to specify
of course, go ahead.
something. Also, so each, just to specify a bit about the way it works, you're going to have, for each company token, the company itself is going to be receiving a 5% transaction fee on every transaction. And in return, they are going to be buying back with a percentage of the gross profit which their company generates. So the reason also we chose gross profit is because it ensures that this company is always going to be buying back their company token and ensuring that their company token is growing alongside their company. And so Block Market also receives a 5%. There's a 10% total on each company token. 5% goes to the company to help them grow their business, and then 5% goes to Block Market. Out of that second 5%, you have 2.5% going towards advancing the Block Market platform itself, and then you have 2.5% going towards buying back and burning a build token itself. So for every single token that launches, not only are we benefiting from the liquidity pairings, but also 2.5% of the total value of each transaction on the platform is going to go towards buying and burning build token. So I just wanted to specify that quick, and I'll let you go on with that. There we go.
Oh yeah, thank you so much for jumping in, Fanta. Crucial point I missed. Yeah, I was so excited that I forgot to tell you about the true basic inner workings of that. So yeah, that's the also great thing about, like Fanta was mentioning about these company tokens launching, is that, they're using and they're really taking a page out of Build-A-Block's book, and, they're becoming real entities as well, and what will kind of ensure their growth and will also ensure the increase in Build-A-Block's market cap through liquidity routing and through obviously the development of services for these companies is the fact that they're going to be buying back with a percentage of their total revenues, right? And that's going to allow their token to become, something of substantial, it's going to become a substantial asset that is backed by real money in the real world, right? So, it's almost an inevitable thought that, Build-A-Block is going to be receiving tons of volume, tons of business. And, as a byproduct of that, we're going to be sitting at really big tables and we're going to start doing business with real world companies, with huge companies, right? So that is the true scalability of Build-A-Block, guys, is that at such a low and ridiculous market cap that, I can't stress this enough, guys, is that, we even looking at our revenues, we should be valued in the millions, right? But not only take that into consideration, you're buying into a company that is really going to be sitting down with real world businesses and companies that don't deal with $100,000 in liquidity in a project at a couple million of market cap. You're talking about real big businesses with millions and millions of dollars who we personally are going to be facilitating their entry inside crypto and inside Web3 and inside decentralized finance, and we're obviously vetting that in a pretty special way. We're doing a lot of research about the people that apply. We're reaching out to companies personally that we are a fan of what they are doing, and which is clear that that they have made an impact, that they're continuing to do an impact. How we're kind of working on agreements right now is, we're drafting up, and we've been in the process of, making the people that are initially interested sign kind of these non-binding letters of intent. Basically, what will express their intent. It's not going to bind them in the immediate term right now because that's for both our security and their security. And when time, comes to, Block Market to have its debut and to start everything well, we're going to go through all of these letters of intent, these non-binding letters of intent. We're going to be drafting up the official contracts, which we'll be working on a term basis of, either 5, 10, 15-year basis. And basically, we're going to be locking them into that concept of they're going to be earning through the generation of fees. Half of the fees are going to be going through the development of the ecosystem, development of their project. 2% of those are going to get it routed right back to Build-A-Block, which is the company and the project and the token that you're holding that is benefiting from all of this. And then, the companies are going to be earning from there, and the companies are going to be taking their revenues and they're going to be buying back that token. And, having these legal contracts, making this a really legal entity, making sure that all of our T's are crossed, all of our I's are dotted, making sure that these contracts are valid in every country that these companies are running in is going to provide a way that we're really doing things in an official manner. And, with that, like I've explained earlier, Build-A-Block will be registering as a real company. And, you guys are going to be buying into to something really special, like I've explaining to you for the past whatever hour that I've been here, so it's definitely something interesting. And and obviously if anyone has a company, if anyone has a business, and if anyone wants to be part of that journey and be part of those initial tokens launching, you can always reach out to us at our email, and you can book a meeting with us, and as the same with services. So yeah, that's my touch on Block Market. Everything is going to be very much very much looked at and overlooked to extent, and we're obviously only going to be dealing with reputable companies that are registered, that have showed their progress and showed the fact that they are legal entities. And obviously we're going to have these contracts binding them legally, right? So This is not just going to be a figment of people's imagination. This is real business we're working with. We're working face to face. We're working in real life, and this is not just something that you can delete a Telegram account and make go away. This is real stuff. So definitely interesting, and definitely speaks toward the, like I was mentioning earlier, the sheer scalability of Build a Block as a whole.
Okay, thank you, Rico. That was a great explanation of your new exciting product, the block market. So going back a little bit on the services, so you guys, mentioned here, the block market, you guys are gonna have some cool liquidity routing. There's a lot of income that's going to be made if you're going to be partnering with projects, which is super great. That's super exciting to hear. So going back to the services, so you guys maintain to have a 30% profit margin on services sold. So could you provide a breakdown as to where the profits will be allocated throughout the business to provide and promote sustainability? And do you guys what are your rates compared to industry competitors and such like that?
Great question. Awesome. Very happy to answer that. So we try to maintain as much of a profit margin as we can, right? But we always make sure that we are going for that, at least 20% range of taking 20% of the total revenue that was generated per sale. Sometimes it's less, and recently, it's been a bit more, a bit less, but we always take that at least part of the profit and we completely buy back. With the rest of the profit, if there is, after we've sold services, we put those into treasuries, and we obviously always reinvest that into the business after we've paid our guys, after everyone's been paid. And recently, some of our developers, we've expanded the kind of core team that is working just to push build. So, all those profits are going to be taken, and, we're going to be making maybe even closer to 30% of our revenues in just sheer buybacks and burns. Obviously, a portion of those profits now, with the new quarter that's coming out, we're going to be taking those and we're going to be making some really cool new staking pools, right? So the guys are going to be able to, all of our holders, our whole community is going to be able to earn, kind of this dividend-esque payout directly, in the sense that, we're going to have both short-term pools that people are going to be able to stake and earn, quickly at the end of the month. And at the same time, we're going to have these longer-term pools for people that want to lock away their tokens for a year. 6 months, 2 years, that they're going to be able to be earning on that percentage of the profits as a whole too. So really, to break it down, the profits, huge majority, if not 70% of the total profit, or 80% really, that's getting put back into the business as a whole. It's getting rebought into our chart, it's getting burned, or the tokens are getting put aside for some, like I mentioned, centralized exchange listings, future development. We want to supply for if we ever have to sit down, and we will, some venture capital firms. And then the rest of the money, it's going into staking pools, it's going into rewarding you guys, it's going to strengthening our liquidity and our ecosystem. And yeah, that's really how we divvy up the fees. In terms of our prices in competition with, competitors, where do I start? We're I guess across the board probably about 30 to 40 to even up to sometimes 50 to 60% cheaper than the competitors. Depends on what you want. When it's a custom development, there's no really putting a cheaper than price on, but we've gotten such a substantial amount of custom development demands that people will go and get quotes elsewhere. And for like I was talking to you about a launch pad that we're working on, a few launch pads, stuff like that, requests as such, we were doing it for a price that was almost like $5,000 cheaper than competition, which is really, really cool. Simply just staking DApps and lottery DApps, we're offering stuff at a couple $100 that people are, selling for upwards of $2,000. Websites, simple stuff that you want to give your project utility. We're always beating the competitors, right? And if you do find someone that's cheaper on us, I promise you that 100% of the time, 100% of the time, it's always less quality of work, and we're consistently, working to make our prices as affordable as we can make them, while obviously, maintaining enough money to do what we do and buy back into our chart and create this passive growth for Build a Block as a whole. But yeah, you can expect really what is the textbook definition of competitive prices at Build, so you're always at least saving 30 to 40% when you're working with us. On some bigger stuff, sometimes you're even saving 50%, 60%. I've seen some stuff as crazy as we're really doing stuff like literally 80% off from the retail price, especially when we get the code and it's very easiest for us to do. It becomes relatively easy to offer a great price point for everyone, and that's part of our mission is to encourage, and to and to really, in a sense, get up that scalability for everyone, and to allow, these price ranges so that we can, give more projects utility, and in the process make the space as a whole a safer and a better place.
Okay, thank you so much. That's great. So you guys are doing it obviously at a lot cheaper compared to other competitors, as well as having that ability to use part of that revenue that's generated from the sale to buy back the tokens and burn it, which is absolutely amazing. That's really great. So going back to the services, we talked about farms, lotteries. There's cross-chain bridges that you guys did. You guys did some cool betting apps as well. Do you guys do any sort of contract auditing? Do you guys do any like KYC stuff or?
Yeah, auditing for sure. I can touch on that.
Okay. And what are the total percentages of total company revenue that the audit composes of? Because auditing it's all kind of all over the place. There's people that charge $1,000 or $500, and I know Certic charges up to like 40-50 grand, which is something crazy like that.
Yeah, crazy numbers. We offer both third-party auditing sourcing, so sometimes it's really hard to get in contact with some of these bigger companies and some of these reputable auditing companies as a whole. So what we do offer is we offer a service which will allow you to I guess the word would be fast track audits at some reputable auditing firms. And then we offer in-house audits. We offer complete in-house audits for well under $1,000, and some it depends on the it's very case-to-case basis, but we also offer like a quick audit for relatively like $50-100, depends on how long your smart contract is, and we'll check some key features about your code, and you'll have a little paper to put in a little document in your chat to say this was quick audited by Build a Block. If you're just launching right there, and then it's a fair launch, self launch, or you need a quick document that is going to get made. We have our quick audits. We have our full auditing services, and what's also cool is that we, having the connections we do have, we're able to kind of go ahead and talk to you guys about, kind of doing our best to third-party audit source for you guys, and to get, for developers that want these kind of better names and bigger name audits to, try and get that done for you as fast as possible. So yeah, that's kind of within our auditing services. They're not the most popular thing we do, but, we are, as Build a Block, progresses, definitely gonna, for one, obviously have a more reputable name in the space, right? And, we definitely already do, but, I believe that, our auditing services, in terms of our in-house auditing services, will become more popular. I don't have an exact figure to give you right now about like exactly how much that made up of. Actually, I can tell you exactly how many auditing sales we've made for Q1 and Q1.5. I'm lying. We keep our data. Give me 1 second and let me just throw out that number for you since you asked. Let me go into Telegram really quickly. We sold a fair bit though. We definitely sold. I'm gonna go check for at least our quarter 1.5. So from August 23rd to October 23rd, so a 2-month, we sold. So we didn't do too much. It was about 4 audit services that we put out there. For the actual first quarter, so the first, I guess, 3 months of our project, I'll tell you right now. Give me a quick second here. I believe it was something like 10. So maybe in total we've touched, and there's actually, funny enough, a couple services in the back burner right now that pertain to audits. Let me go check our Q1 revenue report. I can tell you right now, because we do have a breakdown by product on all of these papers, guys. So you can go ahead and inform yourself. Well, maybe we didn't. Okay, so yeah, that would fall into technical services. So we didn't really have publicly mentioned auditing services back then. When we did do work in terms of third-party audit sourcing, we throw those under technical support or just kind of unique services. So, but off the top of my head, we've at least done 10 to 15, instances where we've either done a quick audit or we've done some audit sourcing for people, which we hope to grow in the future for sure, because it's definitely an in-demand product, but it's something offered by Build a Block, so it's always there. It's definitely hard to get into that margin of, or just get into that market where we're going to be in demand like a Certec audit or one of these crazy audits, but we do, provide audits at a price point where they're thoroughly done, and, and they're just as good quality as really any, major competitor you find on the market. But, it's a fraction, a real fraction of the price, obviously, because, we're a fraction of the size of the I guess, reputation in terms of the auditing world. But, it's always a service we offer, and it's always something that you can come talk to us about, and we can make it happen. And if you want to spend 40 grand on a CertTech audit, or 10 grand, or whatever the going price is at the moment, we can make that happen to you very fast. And, we can help you. We can help you on that end.
Sick. So you guys have auditing services and stuff like that. So you guys have employees and such like that. For your custom contract developments and stuff like that. So I know you guys do consulting, you guys do development packages. So what kind of qualifications, I guess, employees need to have in order to work at Build a Block?
Yeah, great question. So we take requests all the time. We ask people to submit their resumes when we are looking for hire, when we're hiring. So to be part of the core team, obviously, it's not something that's really open doors. All of the developers that are on our core team that don't work as subcontracted hirees are really, just people we've worked with in the space that have a really kind of, for one, they're all docs to each other, so we know everyone that's working with us, in real life. Real life, we know what they look like, we know their names, etc. And for two, but they have a quite extensive, I guess, portfolio in the space. They've done really good stuff, and it depends on the job. Sometimes we need graphic designers, sometimes we need blockchain engineers, so it varies from job to job. But if you do have some experience and you are going to provide something of value to the company, then you always can drop your resume and we can talk to you. I mean, at this current moment, with who we have on hire, we are looking for a few more, skilled developers, full stack developers, really, that are going to be really good in their range. If you're good with React, there's always a seat at the table for you as well. Just kind of with any kind of, I guess, development job, the more you can do, the better. And, we offer both, kind of contracts as full-time, employees that, you can be paid on a weekly basis or a bi-weekly basis. And, we offer, extensions to where we'll give you a call if we need you. And, you can help us on a particular development and, we can arrange a price with you on that basis. So we do, as much as we bring revenue in to buy back, we do offer, job opportunities for people that do want to, develop with Build, and those are pretty paying for kind of our core, developers that we're using on a day-to-day basis. So, when there is opportunity for hire, you'll always see it. We have Twitter posts. We are still looking for a few positions. We also have referrals, for our actual community, on that note of making money in that sense, is when you refer a service sale to us, you can earn a percentage of the revenue or a percentage of the profit made. And you can also, that's, for our partnerships that we have going. If you get some people to list on our farm, I believe we have $100 one-time reward. So, by helping us expand the company, by helping us get new hirees, by helping us get new clients, both our community members and, obviously our team members are always rewarded. So yeah, I hope that went to speak on that note. You just have to have experience in what you're applying for.
Okay, perfect. So, let's say I wanted to develop a yield farm. Let's say I wanted to develop a farm and I come to you guys, I'm like, hey, I need this done. What is the average, time it takes to the complete, for example, a yield farm. So, obviously, sometimes I may not answer, there's might be a, response delay and such like that. How long would it take usually to make something like a yield farm or like a lottery app, something like that?
So yeah, lottery app we can have done in the day, right? If you want one of our basic lottery apps, it's not too custom. We can pump stuff like that out in an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. If there's no, because listen, we have a lot of requests sometimes. So sometimes something that takes us 2-3 hours to make, you might have to wait 24 hours for. When you're locking into these longer developments, I can give you some pretty standard time rates. Is like, for example, I was mentioning that LP locker with NFT staking rewards, and that was a completely from the ground up development that we did for, our now partner Grimace. I believe we completed that in about 8 to 10 business days. We have we're building some launch pads. We've already built some launch pads. The fastest we delivered a whole launch pad, kind of like a pink sale fork launch pad in, was, I would say, 9 business days or 9 working days. For terms of everything on our basic service list, you can get a smart contract done in the same day. custom smart contracts are relatively low wait time. I'll just go into our services list and I'll give you a few times for average stuff. Yield farm, like you were mentioning, week. If you want even less, if it's not too complex, it depends if you're going to want a farm token or whatnot. Liquidity, swap and liquidity adder, same day or 1 day wait time. Lottery DApp, like I said, same day. Easy swap, same day. We offer wrapped version, creation of a wrapped version of your token for zero fee trading if that's not, available in your contract, or just for, cross chain reference. We offer that within the same day. Cross bridging services, 3 to 4 days. Even 3 days. Listen, if you want to pay more and you want to, put your development in the front end, like I can always, there's some, we have some awesome clients that say, hey, listen, like I need this done, yesterday, right? And we're like, okay, well, we have like 5 projects right now. Obviously it's pay to play. So sometimes, we'll tell you, okay, listen, we can get it done in 5 days, but if you're willing to pay a premium, we'll have it done in 48 hours. That doesn't come out of greed. That just comes out of the simple fact that, we do, we don't have a team of 100 people. We have a team of 10 people, and we have a lot of requests, so we have to make sure to be as fair as we can with people. And, if someone's willing to pay for the extra hours so that one of our developers is going to get a bit less sleep, and, he's willing to pay that premium, then, you can get that done in the absolute shortest time possible. But just on regular price ranges, yeah, smart contract, NFT smart contract, 3 days or so. If you really want it done, we could probably make it happen in a day or so if you really want it. Quick audits happen within a few hours. Our auditing services take about 3 to 4 days. So really, you're always looking at stuff that can be done within, 1 day to about 10 days if they're really custom developments. And, we've had stuff that's taken like 2 weeks, but they've been really, back and forth calls every day with the team, and they want new implementations and stuff like that. But you will find the best delivery times with us, for the sheer reason that, you're working with the developer. When you get to the point where you're locked in. Oh, and also a point to mention, it also depends on how you pay, right? So sometimes we have developments that'll cost $6,000, right? Or $7,000 or $10,000, and people are going to want to pay in installments. So that is an option, right? So if you're paying in installments, there's going to be points in time if you can't make the payment installment on the agreed upon date. It's not like we're going to throw away your development, but your development will be paused. So sometimes we get into that where it's something that should have taken 5 days to make, but unfortunately for whatever circumstances, the team that we've offered this payment plan to, they can't make the payment in time, so we can't pay our developers, and we're just going to pause your development. But we do offer a breakdown of payments for larger sales. That really only comes into play about $3-4 grand upwards of that price. We don't require initial full payment. But yeah, I mean, 1 to 10 business days. 10 business days for like some crazy stuff. And why you're getting that such fast delivery time is that when you're locked in for a sale, you're speaking to real developers. You're speaking to you're not speaking to someone that when you do an inquiry, you might not be speaking to a full developer. But when you're working with us, you have a guy that's really sitting there, and the keys he are punching right there and on his keyboard. Well, that's your development getting made in front of your eyes. So you're working straight with a real company that's not outsourcing its development. We have done some outsource work in the past, and we have we do get some outsourced consultation sometimes from some people, but mostly always you're all of this is being done in-house. So if you want to get a custom pendant made, or if you want to get some sort of jewelry or a ring made for your wife that you want to propose with, if you go to the factory and you sit there with the jeweler and you say, I want your custom ring made, he might be able to bang that custom ring out in an afternoon. But if you go to the jewelry store and you're not going to the factory, we are a store, but we're really the factory, right? So if you go to the factory, he might just be able to make you the ring right there in front of your eyes in an hour or two, right? But if you go to the jewelry store, it might take 3 weeks for them to, get everything going for you. So you're coming to the source when you're coming to build a blog.
Okay, sick. So we've been talking a lot about services. So just going back a little bit about the token, I read something that was super interesting. So right now you guys have 10% buy and sell, and as well as a transfer fee as well. But you guys, as you guys get bigger and such like that, you guys mentioned that you guys plan to remove this taxes, so allowing for free trade of the build token assets. So how is this possible? Number one, because there could be liquidity issues, and what's the time frame on when you think this would be happening?
For sure. Time frame very much undisclosed for the simple reason that it's very hyper dependent on, for one, the current state of the token in terms of its liquidity. It's really in terms of its liquidity, and its, I guess, holder amount. Doesn't really have to do with market cap so much as it has to do with liquidity, like you mentioned. So how we're gonna be able to do that is, for one, is that, you know, we don't need to sit there and collect taxes off people in reality once we already have the amount of supply we need for centralized exchanges for future endeavors. We have a business, right? So if we need to pay our bills as developers, we pay it from working for our business. We don't pay it from your guys' money and your guys' transaction fees. The transaction fees is really there, right? And we're like, in that regard, we're very much different from, I would say, every quote unquote dev in the Binance Smart Chain, for the simple reason that, you know, that those fees are not how we pay our bills, and it's not how we say that we make money. No, you know, we have a business for that, right? So those fees, in that regard, they only serve its purpose is to reinforce our liquidity and to do exactly, you know, what's mentioned, right? And when the business is to a size in which we have adequate revenues to both make substantial buybacks, to market the company, to add to the liquidity pool, and to, you know, have money for every future endeavor. And at that point, you know, we will definitely be removing, we'll be incrementally, or like kind of, yeah, I guess in increments, we will be lowering the tax fee. That could be happening within, you know, even the next few months, and you know, over the next year or 2 years, it'll definitely come down substantially, until to the point where, you know, in the relative near future, given the sheer scalability of what our business is, that tax fee won't be, you know, necessary anymore, and you guys will be able to trade builds for, I mean, you know, no fee, and that's always great. I mean, at this market cap range, it's not really a huge deal because 10%, right? If you're really thinking about it, like I mentioned, like on paper, we should be worth millions of dollars. So you're already getting a, you know, a discount, so it's not a big issue. But, you know, in that regard, yeah, our plan is for sure to, it's an inevitable thing that that tax fee will one day be removed. It's not something I can put a date on. You know, I don't put dates on things that I can't, you know, make sure to keep my promise for. It's definitely something that will be taken on a step-to-step basis, but it's our plan. You know, we're definitely not a shitcoin, for lack of better words, and we're a company, and I believe our assets should be able to be one day traded without any fee. And I was going to say penalty. It's definitely not a penalty, because when you pay that 10% fee, you're helping your own investment indirectly. But, you know, it's definitely something that, you know, for obvious reasons, should be 0% one day. So that's going to happen. That will happen. I look forward to that day happening, because that'll mean that the business is in a really good place, and so is the token. But yeah, that's definitely on the agenda, and that's definitely something we're working toward.
Sick. So last question from me before we take, you know, the community questions. So you mentioned a little bit earlier about, you know, your relationship with Grimace Coin. So how do you guys, you know, quote unquote, benefit from each other? And you mentioned a little bit earlier you guys had like that liquidity locker. So I would assume that's the DApp that you created with them. I don't know if you're allowed to disclose any other adapts you've made with them, but how, you know, what is your relationship with them, and how do you guys, you know, benefit from each other?
Do you want me to touch on this, Rico?
For sure, yeah. Fanta, he kind of put to works this deal. Some great guys over there. So I'll go ahead, Fanta. Pleasure, for sure.
Yeah. So first of all, you know, big shout out and thanks to the Grimace team. You know, Alec and Khan have been very, very avid supporters of Build a Block pretty much since the day we launched. And so we've developed. We're not at Build a Block. We're not big on. How can I say this? We're not big on like partnerships that exist only for hype, or like for kind of, you often see like tokens with low levels of utility or no utility at all that will partner with each other just to create exposure for both communities to the other community. So kind of like you bring me volume, I bring you volume kind of understanding. We're not big on that kind of high partnership type of thing. For us, a partnership, you know, is really something which will actually benefit the utility, the use case, the growth of each project and each ecosystem, if you will. So with Grimace specifically, the understanding that we came to is that we will refer our clients, the people that come to us for development, we will refer them to the Grimace locker, to the Grimace liquidity locker. And we will offer discounts to our clients that, you know, if we provide you with an initial price, and then you agree to use the Grimace locker, we will provide you with a slight discount. In exchange, Grimace will refer clients, will refer tokens using their locker, their liquidity locker, as well as other developers that they are in contact with, that they have connections to. They will refer these developers and these projects to Build a Block for development, which in turn is allowing us to grow our client base, and they will also receive a small percentage of the total net profits that are made on each sale, which they will use to buy back a Grimace coin. There's also the aspect of them working on setting up their headquarters, the Grimace headquarters in Dubai. That's something that's going on with them at the moment, and they're going to be bringing innovation and Web3 technology and working on integrating businesses over there within Web3 tech. And so that's going to be an awesome help when it comes to block market. They're going to be using Build a Block to provide these Web3 services to the companies they will be working with, and they will also be referring them to block market for a block market listing, which will, as we mentioned and as we explained before, bring some awesome volume and some awesome funding to Build the Block itself. And of course, any developments that they're referring to us, they're getting a small percentage on as well. So it's a really awesome partnership, and we're really excited to work more closely with these guys, considering they've quite literally, much like yourself, CryptoFrog, they've quite literally been there with us since the very first day we launched, and I know a lot of their team, a lot of their community are holders of Build a Block as well. So all in all, very, very exciting partnership, and we're very happy about that.
Thanks, Fanta, for the explanation on your relationship with Grimace. So I see a lot of people are asking questions. So if I put it in the comments below the latest post, so drop your questions below this comment. So right now I'm reading. We're gonna ask. Alex asked is as the first sell less reward smart contract, what is your strategy to promote your innovative DeFi approach and attract users to Build a Block? So for example, do you plan to focus on referral marketing, as it's cost effective to increase your reach to project and investor, or are you guys going to go, all big into the marketing campaign? Great question, Alex.
Yeah, great question. I'll go ahead and touch on this. So, marketing, exposure, key components of every business. How do we do it? How have we been doing it? How are we planning on starting to step that up? Great things that I'm going to touch on right now. So, referral marketing is like, I believe Alex, right, mentioned, cost effective, and it's great because it's word to word, it's mouth to mouth, it's very effective. It incentivizes people to talk about us. It's something that on the low end or the low key end is quite effective. The biggest source of marketing we've had as a whole is just this snowball effect of for one, we're working with big projects. Oftentimes we're developing for a lot of projects, so in consequence, a lot of people talk about us. Sometimes people go as far as to say Build a Block made my service, and in recent times, that's even been kind of a bullish thing that people talk about is, I got this made by Build. Our name gets out there. Through select partnerships, we get a lot of users, as well. We get our name out there. Through our farm and Blockify and Build a Block and just that ecosystem, we get a lot of attention too, because guess what? When some token wants to, just gonna have a sip of water. When a token wants to list on the farm, their users have to come say hi to us. They have to use our platform, and they come and they dive into the Build a Block ecosystem as a whole right there. And then on a level of more traditional and larger scaled marketing, we have taken an approach for Build a Block that has been, I would call, there's a good word, alternative. Yeah. So I would call it an alternative approach for the simple reason that we love acquiring investors that understand about our project, especially in these market cap ranges, for the simple reason that I'm going to tell you guys right now is that we have taken a burden and we have put weight on our shoulders by offering you guys a piece of our company live tradable for such a low price, right? So if this was just a company that me and Fanta were running along with our backend team, we wouldn't worry about, when someone buys up 1% of our project for, actually, we maybe it was one of you guys who just made the investment of what will be a lifetime right here. We have a 3.5 BNB buy right now and Build that acquired 7.4 million tokens, so 0.74% of the total supply of the project. So I guess seeing that, if you spend roughly maybe $1,200, $1,300, you're acquiring a full percent of our company. That's something that means something to us, right? So at these market cap ranges, we only want to, we want you guys to, of course, we want you guys to invest, but it's an opportunity that we're giving people that, we'd love to put in the right hands, if you don't understand what I'm saying, because we know how much we're going to be worth. And of course, we're going to shake out all the people that, as we go up, as we hit 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, we're going to get rid of people along the way that aren't, really there for what we're truly destined to be. But we'd like to continue to build our foundation by acquiring informed investors who really understand what our project is and what we're doing. And, the community helps everyone learn. Everyone inside of our Telegram chat, it's a place that you can come and you can learn about Build and you can talk about everything and you'll be welcomed in open arms and we'll help you learn more. And, as a community, and we're always helping each other learn more about Build, about the space as a whole, and kind of adopt this more of a serious investment mentality where it's taking that, we're fed up of investing in projects that you won't get more than 2 hours sleep on, and that, projects that are, like I mentioned earlier, huge Ponzi schemes. But, as the time goes by, we're obviously going to be doing some more serious marketing. We're still in the process of doing some really great press releases. We're not even on CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko yet, believe it or not. So you guys can, we've done that for a specific reason. We could have fast-tracked it like every other cryptocurrency. We could have spent the $5,000 and got the whole package of that price tracker on on Binance and Crypto.com and CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap. We're not even there yet. So, when you're buying Build a Block, you're buying a project that's discounted tenfold just based on its revenue. And, we haven't even hit those kind of price trackers yet. But, as it's coming, obviously, like I've been explaining, we're saving up for centralized exchanges right now in terms of just the tokens. We actually have finally, accumulated a pretty substantial amount where we can go on a few CEXs. And we're in the process of, like I said, the marketing we're going to be doing is, yes, of course, we're going to be expanding onto the Binance Smart Chain and the Telegram space and the Twitter space as a whole. But, we're going to be getting some real life exposure by these, by block market, by these business deals that we have in motion, by registering Build a Block as a real company, by doing our SEOs online, by putting our name out there, and by, inevitably becoming this kind of central focus point of Web3 development, So it's like the business scales itself in the sense that, our name gets out there by itself. And, everything we do on top of that is extra and effective, So we're definitely getting to the point where, like I said, we still want to acquire, informed investors. So we like coming on AMAs and really talking to you guys about our project. And then, we'll have a supply shock in the near future. And you guys will see these precious tokens that you're holding on, this, this 1% of a huge company that you can buy for a little over $1,000 right now. People are going to be paying 10, 20, 30, 40,000, $50,000 for it. And, if we didn't even make a token and we were just a company, and I promise you that in 5-6 months time, let's say we never had a token, we'd be selling off a percent of our company for a lot more than $1,000, guys, even at this thing right now. So definitely make sure to take advantage of that opportunity of us being public before we should be. And yeah, I hope that spoke toward just our general marketing plan that it's going to be taking. Yeah.
Super excited for that. So so right now, Squid Grow underwent a supply shock when they were blowing up like crazy. I remember it went from like 5 mil to like 15-20 mil in like 2 days. It was something that's like that. I think Pooch Chain's about to hit that as well. They're having a supply shock as well. So that $90 bag, that we called that I ended up buying when we called it a couple months ago, all those months ago, it's worth like 26,000. So obviously, we're super excited about that. But something like this, you're buying at the bottom. I'm looking at this chart. There's definitely a big pump from the buys from the AMA, but this, if you look at the chart, you're getting in at like a really good entry because all-time high is what, around 400K?
Yeah, and to speak on that, actually, we almost have the exact same amount of USD value as we had at all-time high. So we really prioritized, like I said, real liquidity there. And you're buying,
this is strong. I didn't even realize that it's 18,000. That's like a 15% for a market cap of that. That's insane. That's nuts.
And that's just our BNB pair too. So if you would go into, I'll send you some stuff after as well, just to the community as a whole. But we have like about 40 Gs in total, which is cool. We're up there in the 20-30% range in terms of liquidity and market cap. Yeah, and I would stress that too to everyone is that, you know, like you look at projects that are in the millions and you look at their liquidity of maybe 200, 300,000. You mentioned Squid Girl, and I could go look at their liquidity right now. I mean, I'm on PooCoin. Just to give you guys an example of like how little our market cap means, whether you're buying at 130,000 or you're buying at $1 million. You know, to tell you the amount of just revenue that we're going to be generating. You know, yeah. So we're looking at about $500,000 in liquidity, which is, you know, sizable, I guess. But about $500,000 for a project at 6 million market cap. You know, you can look at other projects that are about $1 million with 100 grand, or $2 million with 120 grand, 150 grand, and so forth. But you know, couple of big buybacks from some big deals that we have going on soon, and just in general as we scale, you guys will realize that like the millions of dollars of market cap ranges, they're nothing to us. They're going to be absolutely nothing to us. And that beautiful, like you were mentioning, Frog, about a $90 bag being worth 26 G's. When a $90 bag is worth 26 G's on Build a Block, you're going to actually be able to, if you want, and you see that number $26,000 on the chart, or I mean on your wallet through CoinGecko or whatever it tells you the price. Well, guess what? If you actually needed that $26,000 to save your damn life, you'd be able to sell that $26,000 and it wouldn't make a huge impact on the chart, and it would not make a price impact to the point where it would decrease the value of everyone else's tokens. We're making a real asset with real money behind it, you know? So beauty of Build a Block.
That's sick. Okay. So we went through, you know, a lot of questions. The AMA is coming up to almost 2 hours. And I'm not supposed to have this table because I'm in an Airbnb right now, so I kind of have to put it back. But yeah, like even if your question wasn't asked, Fanta and Rico will look over and see if you know which question was the best asked, and you'll be decided the winner. Right now we're gonna do trivia. So obviously you guys got to follow the Twitter. I saw like 170 people at a point where I'm live on the AMA. We're at 150 right now, which is nuts because this is like, you know, we haven't done AMAs in like so long, and it's great to see something like this. You know, these are like some like Caesar Venom numbers, which I'm pretty excited about. But let me go
some
to
awesome stuff. Great.
Let me go to our Twitter as well, so I can think of some questions that you guys that we want to put up. Okay, so let's tweet it out. So I'm thinking, what's a good question I could ask? Maybe a question here I didn't put that I didn't ask because I have a bunch of questions here. Okay, we'll ask something that was mentioned a little bit earlier. So, okay, you know what? So if you were live on the AMA a little bit earlier, so we're about to put it up in like in like around 10 seconds, but it's not a one-word answer, so put a decent explanation. Obviously, we'll pick the best answered one in we'll give about 2-3 minutes for everyone to respond. So so make sure you're following CryptoFrog's Gems on Twitter. It's going to be posted up on there. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's post it up. As always, Fanta and Rico, look in and see who has the best answer regarding this.
Definitely.
This one's definitely a longer one, so I'm not going to see a lot of one-word answers in a sense. But yeah. Okay, we're going to give a couple minutes for everyone to respond. Right now, I'm going to pick a random winner as a giveaway for our random listener. So I'm going to pick just someone random. Andreas Kronos, he's rocking the CryptoFrog's Gems in his name as well, so gotta give it to him. So he's gonna be our first winner for random listener. So thank you so much for everyone that joins. Random listener. And obviously we'll pick best question. Fanta and Enrico are gonna look over the best questions. Definitely some great questions asked, everyone. Really impressed. I was looking at some of the questions, and Great. Really exciting to see. So, okay, so look, some people are putting in some responses. So Fanta or Rico, if you guys want to pick the best answer, just give it about maybe 1 more minute.
Awesome. I'm enjoying reading through. Cool.
Okay, we'll give 1 more minute and then. I think some people are writing some long responses. You know what? We'll give some time for people to respond because I'm sure a lot of people are writing some like long explanations, which is completely unfair if we were to pick them right away. But we'll give like after the AMA, we'll pick a winner for the trivia. But overall, thank you so much, guys, for joining. It really means a lot. A lot of stuff written down on this thing. If you want to read it, the people that are just joining or joined a little bit late. Thank you to Fanta and Rico for joining as well. I'm going to end the recording here so that we can post it on the YouTube channel. And then, of course, for them to have for later or people that missed out on the AMA. So, wow, an hour and 35 minutes. Okay, perfect.